see, I have increasing numbers of young people who are coming into my office who are really worried and upset, not about what's happening to them, but about being worried. When you look at surveys that have been done over the last 20 years about what most worries teenagers, what you see at the top of those surveys 20 years ago is things like school, future, family, environment, war. What you see at the top of those surveys today is depression, anxiety, mental health, suicide. We have young people who are very worried about feelings and really about important and noble efforts to destigmatise mental health and depression. We've unfortunately sent some very unhelpful messages to teenagers. The messages that we send are things like, feeling really bad is a disease. Feeling really bad is abnormal. Feeling really bad is uncommon. Feeling really bad needs to be treated. I had a young person come and see me just a little while ago, teenager, no history of mental health issues. She broke up with her boyfriend. She spent the day in bed crying. Her mum took her to the GP that night, really worried about how sad she was. Within an hour of being at that GP, she was on antidepressant medication. Teenagers come to me constantly having Googled all of their symptoms, self-diagnosing themselves with mental health. I just want to clarify for the record that first of all, I believe that depression and anxiety are one of the most devastating, terrible experiences that as humans we can have. The second thing I want to say is that there are some of us who are predisposed to feeling depressed and anxious. It is not our fault. I also believe that mental health struggles are very common, that mental health struggles and their causes are very complex, and the way we treat mental health struggles also needs to be complex. And I don't know that we're giving that message to young people. And that feeling really hard stuff is absolutely normal, that they should get help for this, that they should seek out as much support as they can. But this is part of life. Actually called M. Scott Peck, who wrote a book called The Road Less Travelled, and I think he expressed this really well. The very first sentence of his book was this: life is difficult. Very first sentence. I read this when I was in my early 20s. It was recommended to me. I started the book, Life is Difficult. Uplifting read. The second sentence in The Road Less Travelled, after life is difficult, is this: once we accept that life is difficult, life is less difficult. Now, I've always wanted to have a famous quote by M. Scott Peck, so I've got my own tonight. Ready? Life is difficult for our children. Once we accept that life is difficult for our children, life is less difficult for our children. It's case out. Underpinning this stuff about helping them problem solve, helping them stay active in life, is this idea that yes, life is hard, and yes, they will have days where they will have felt worse than they thought humanly possible, but they are bigger than that. And that with us beside them, not solving things for them, but loving them and being right with them, they are able to cope with more than they thought that they could.